Hello lovelies, how are you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Yes, I've been away a bit. I just had myself to sort out and I'm back. Finally, oh, I forgot to do this. Finally, I have got a couple of journals for a flip through. And excuse me while I just cut off some threads that I had forgot all about. Okay, done. Yeah, so these have actually been done for a while, all but the closure. I just really couldn't work out what I was going to use for a closure for them, and so they just sat there looking at me in, you know, and I just, yeah, I couldn't work out what to do. What I wanted to do I couldn't do, and part of that is because I didn't have the right tool that I wanted or I needed, which was a one of those stud tools, you know. Yeah, so I couldn't do what I wanted to do, and so I got annoyed with myself and with the journals, and yeah, so I just left them. And last night I flipped through them to make sure that everything was okay with them, and they are. And then I decided on my only option for closure, which was just a wraparound piece of eyelash lace, which I've twisted some retro rickrack around. And well, yeah, I've had this rickrack for, I don't know, well over 15 to 20 years now, so it's getting on for retro age. So that's what I've done. The lace on its own wasn't really enough for the journals. It was not quite the right look I was going for, and because I still had in my mind the closure that I actually excuse me, I actually wanted to do and couldn't. And so, you know, I had to pretty much get out of my own way. Okay, I'll say it, you don't need to say it, I'll do it, I'll say it. So anyway, here they are. They are both very chunky, as you can probably see, and I'll just unprop them because I've got them propped up. And they're sewing journals, or sewing themed journals, and they're 3 signatures, and they're both very full, chunky, nice chunky journals. And they're the signatures are not stitched in. They're the signatures themselves are stitched, but they've been slipped through some elastic so they can be removed, and you can then add, you know, reuse the cover and add signatures of your own into it if you like the covers. Yeah, so as you can see, they're very chunky-ish, and they're soft covered. This one is, they're both being made pretty much the same way, and one has slightly different elements added to it than the other, but overall they're like sisters. So I don't know exactly how many pages are in them. I haven't actually counted them. I don't know, but when I do the listing for Etsy, all the information will be in there. So yeah, you'll get all the information. I mean, as it is, you can see that they are fairly full on. So I'm going to show you one. I'm going to do the video in 2 parts so that I can make sure I've got the timestamp thing down so that I can include that detail in my listing for people that are after, you know, whichever one. So like I said, it's just a piece of eyelash lace which I've coffee dyed, and I did that last night, and I've just twisted the rickrack around and tied a knot at each end, and there is just enough to tie a loose knot there. Because I wanted these a retro sort of themed and pretty much more junky-ish rather than my usual full-on very embellished journals. So while they do have embellishments within them, I haven't gone overboard. This is, it only looks overboard because there's 3 signatures in. Usually I only put, like, you know, 2 signatures. I've done a couple of journals with 3, but yeah, I do tend to, when I create my pages and my ephemera to go in them, like the tags and journal cards, I usually do go all out with a lot of bits that have gone on them, so they usually take me a whole lot longer to create. So I've made the covers. The covers are soft covers, so they're nice and, you know, very, I don't know if you can hear that. They're made out of A4 envelopes, which I've joined together. I've used 2 envelopes. In the end, I folded this one in, and that one, did I fold in? Yes, I did. So yeah, it does seem long, but I've actually created side pockets out of the extra length. And I've used vintage fabric and glued that on, and I've stitched around I've stitched lengthwise, and then I've added the doilies and other trims, and I've stitched around those. All right, and like I said, there's elastic that I have threaded through, which is fixed, and but the signatures can be taken out. So let's open her up and have a look. So I haven't got a deep enough book. Have I got something? Maybe the other journal. Let's see. Oh, it kind of works. All right, so I've done a pocket, and the inside is just some polka dot fabric that I've added in there. And inside this pocket, I've added in a little notebook. That's the other thing with these journals. I've tried to use as much of a sewing pattern packet, the whole packet as much as possible. What was in it, what was out of it, the whole packet as much as possible has been used in these journals. So this one, you can obviously see that it is very retro. It's just a little notebook. There's no pockets within it. It's just pages of bits and pieces that you can add things to or write on. That just slips in there. And the other thing with the two journals too is that I only had one kit, one sewing kit that I was using for the both of them. So I was deliberately limiting myself to make sure that I used as much of the sewing packets as possible and my other resources, which is all vintage. So I've done a little cluster here and I've stitched around this page and put in a pocket. And there's lots of treasures in these journals. There's journal cards. There is journal cards in there, which I've not really done. I've provided a backing for writing, and that's about it. So it's leaving it open for its new owner to do whatever with. But there's little pieces of reproduced ephemera like this included, and trims on pages. So I had various types of patterns from various sewing pattern companies, and put a pocket in here with a large journal card and some sari silk, and it's backed for you to journal on. And a little treasure also inside the pocket is a vintage packet of press studs. Oh, it's not vintage, it's retro. I have done some stamping. Some of the stamping has come out very clear. Some has come out looking like it's a little bit washed away, which I'm happy with because it gives it that sort of aged, to me, it gives it a bit of an aged appearance. So I've used pages from, I had about 4 books to get pages out of. There's not just sewing in this. This is like a Needlecraft. That's probably how I would have to, yeah, it's more based on Needlecraft. So predominantly sewing, but there are other elements of Needlecraft within it. So this is a vintage sewing machine image, and then there's, and I've used like even the name of the pattern brand, Simplicity. It's got the pattern number. I've even snipped those out and used them as like labels. And this is out of an old Needlecraft type magazine, and so that's on fashion. It's pretty much all based on fashion. There are some home elements in the journals, but not very many, because, like, you know, retro, when you're looking at Needlecraft and sewing, and doing things homemade was a big thing. So there is some home elements within it. Then there's another card. Oops, down there like so. All the pages have got a stamp on them, and then this one is like a little interesting little pull out. There's paper to write on, and I've just attached that with some washi, and then there's like a little tuck spot with some bits and pieces, and I've used a portion of the sewing guide to create a side opening pocket. It's a flip. And another interesting little piece of one of the books, sewing related. I didn't have a lot of charms, unfortunately, so oops, this one's come undone. So there is only 2 charms attached to the side. Let me just fix this before I forget about it and someone gets stabbed. Right, so there's a little button charm, and this is a very large journal card that I've done. I have left some of the threads on. If you don't like them, if they get in the way, you can always snip them off. That's been backed, ready for writing on. This is a belly band, and there's treats. Some gorgeous rickrack, and the card itself is just amazing. This is like, this rickrack is speckled. It's light blue, but it's got white and pink, and yeah, it's all speckled and that. And if you took that off, you could actually write on the back of the card and use it as a journal card. So that's in there, and then there's a medium-sized journal card as well in there. There is actually quite a few treats in these journals. I had a big stash. So just some more book page. Yes, that's book page. And a piece of just some tea-dyed paper. So there's lots of book page for you to use for collage if you want to collage on any pages and stuff. I've added trims to many of the pages and some of the pockets. So this one's got a tuck spot, and there is a couple of pages tucked in there. And another tuck spot, another piece of book page, and another journal card. Some of them were quite pretty. Oops. Might have to stick a paper clip on there. Alright, so what else do we have? Another side tuck, side pocket with just some more journal paper, tea-dyed paper. And then the second journal, signature, sorry. And we've got another quite a large journal card which has been backed, and a vintage part packet of hook and eyes. I think we can do away with this one now. And then in here we've got just some paper ephemera and a piece of book page. It's just tucked in there with a little cluster, and that's got a lovely piece of book page image there. And another journal card and some more press studs. I did a little cluster on this page just for something different. And piece of lovely retro braid trim. It's really nice. My friend Lindley, she would love that. She loves orange very 70s girl, and orange is her colour. So, and here we've got just a little page which I've trimmed with some fabric washi. This washi features throughout both the journals, and I've left it like this so you can add in a flip or a tip in, or whatever you want to do with it. A piece of this is off of a large doily which I've made into a pocket, and we've got in here an original button card, vintage one, piece of vintage inspired ephemera, and book page. This is out of a vintage crocheting book, retro crocheting book actually, in the 70s. So, and the paper's quite thick, so it's really good for collaging on. Another belly band, and then in there we've got just a piece of sewing themed paper and another snap fastener, different packet, which again you could possibly write on the back of. Some more book page, and then with a complete pattern guide I created this little ephemera holder, and there's a pocket here, the tag, and it's a faux postcard. I did some fussy cutting of the ladies on the pattern packets to use for my images. Again, I've used the Simplicity brand name and the pattern number, or a pattern number. It's not of this particular one, and there's a little journal card in there, and still plenty of room to add some more bits and pieces to. And then there's a little tuck spot on the back with a tiny little card in there. More book page. Another side pocket with some vintage trim. And what have we got? Something out of a retro magazine. It's just something you can use for collaging. Just a cluster type thing. It doesn't actually serve a purpose, but look pretty. Some more book page, and just the book page. There's a tuck spot, some more of that doily. These doilies I've folded so that they are actually a little tuck spot, but I haven't put anything in them, so you could put something lightweight in there. In here we've got some more hook and eyes, a different packet again. I think this one's British, more British. Yep, there's a side pocket, and then we come to the last one. In here we've got more hook and eyes, and what else have we got? More press studs. I might have to go through them again and even them out a bit more. But I think I had an abundance of press stud packets and hook and eye packets, but they're all different brands and different styles in the packets and whatever. I love this page. It's just so pretty. Very, very retro. suited the journals so much. What have we got in here? Just some reproduced ephemera and another piece of book page on the workings of the sewing machine. I'll put it that way so it doesn't. And that's early 1900s fashion patterns there. Some more reproduced ephemera, which is really good for any collaging that you want to do, just tucked up in there. Another one of the fussy cut ladies off the packet. Some more book page, probably some embroidery pattern. Some more old label. This is quite old. 50s, maybe early 60s, going by the image. And there's a journal card in there as well. Another journal card. And in here, what have we got in here? Some more buttons, which again you could write on the back. This packet's a full packet, and again it's a different packet. It's different. So I'll put that paper clip there because they kept slipping out. It is stitched down the bottom, but they just kept slipping out. So, and there's a little charm on there, a little sewing machine charm. That's just a page flip. Some more book page there. And we've got some lovely rickrack. And a journal card there as well. This is a little booklet that flips out like so, and there's some paper inside. Just a couple of journal cards which I've embellished. I've done a few of these for both journals, embellished with rickrack and vintage retro buttons. Another, oh that's for a hidden journal spot. You've got a little fabric flip. Anything in there? No. Is, I thought this was pretty cool, a retro sewing room, kind of sewing room we'd all love. So, and yes, out of a magazine. This was about the fashion of the time. What time? What date is on there? Is there a date? Yes, there is. The year I was born. December 63. Alright, so two pieces of ephemera in one pocket that are a decade at least apart. And then there's the other page, other side of that beautiful page. And then in here, there is a masterboard that I created, and I've not put tea dyed backing on because I liked this part and there was plenty of room to write around it anyway, but that's up to you. The other thing too is you could cut it in half and make 2 journal cards out of it, but it's essentially it's just a sewing themed masterboard. I've slipped in there. And then in this pocket, I think I did a video for these. So you've got all this journal space, and then there's this pocket here which has got little pieces of ephemera in it that you can use for your collaging. And I've created this little bobbin with some of the washi tape that I used throughout the journals. So, and like I said, it's fabric washi tape. So, and then I've just embellished it with just some reproduced bits and pieces, and then trimmed it with vintage braid. So, and then that just flips back over and tucks in there like so. And slips in that pocket, which I've embellished with part of a doily and a retro fabric button, and the pocket is stitched down, and then it's got that on the back. So that is that journal. And yes, she's quite chunky-ish. I like it. So I'm going to pause the video so I can make a note of when the next one starts, and I will be back with this one. Hello to everyone interested in this sewing journal. It is a chunky one like the one in the first part of the video. I didn't mention in the first part, but both journals have they have a soft spine, but it has been reinforced with cardstock and fabric. So because there's like 3 fat signatures in them, so I wanted to make sure that the spine was, you know, reinforced, that it wasn't just the A4 envelopes that I used, which is what the cover is made out of, and 2 A4 envelopes joined together lengthwise, and then I've glued fabric over them, some retro fabric, and then stitched machine stitched doilies on them, and bits of, this is a bit of a lace tablecloth, and that's, so yeah. And the closure is, I like I said in the first part of the video for the other journal, because they're both constructed the same, I didn't think about a closure when I was doing the cover and then starting to work on the inside. I just was, you know, like a bull in a china shop. I just went ahead and put the journal together, and yeah, didn't think about the actual closure. So when it came to the end and I needed a closure, what I wanted to do, I couldn't do. And then I come up with another idea, which was I would have used measuring tapes, which I would have joined together, and but to do that closure I needed the tool to put in press studs, like, you know, those heavy type press studs, and I don't have one of those tools, so I've got a piece of coffee dyed eyelash lace, and I've wrapped or twisted around it with some vintage or more retro aged rickrack, and just tied a knot in each end. So that is the closure. And yeah, like I said, I've used doilies and some really pretty fabric, which you can't see a lot of now, but never mind. So on the inside I've lined it with just polka dot fabric, and the signatures aren't stitched in, they're just slipped through elastic, so they can be removed if you find it easier working in them by removing them, or when they're finished you can remove them and reuse the cover. So inside this first pocket is a notebook. The other thing with these journals, I'm doing this video like it's just a single video on this one journal, because I figure people might want to just look at one particular one, so I'm giving you a repeat of information. The thing with these journals is for the two journals I was working with one Stamperia kit, so I had to divide that kit between the two, which limited me in what I was going to put in the kits. And I wanted to use as much of the sewing patterns that I had as possible. So pretty much these kits are almost a true junk journal. Okay, so this is a notebook which I've lined and inked, so you could actually even write on there if you wanted to, or stick pictures on there or whatever. And there is no pockets in these little notebooks, it's just filled with tea dyed paper, some tracing paper, pattern tracing paper. There's some very fine pad paper in there. Some of the pattern guide is in there. I put doily in, so you can create a mini journal, or just stick bits and pieces in it and make a few notes. So that just slips inside in there, and I'm going to just get the other one and sit it underneath for a little bit, because they are very chunky. So the first signature, I've just used some fussy cut stuff and some retro braid. Some of the pattern piece I've used in the back instead of book page. I did that quite a bit throughout both journals. And I've got some it's not really very vintage, it's more retro in age lace. And then I've done a pocket here and just added in some little journal card, and there is what do you call them? Hook and eyes. I had loads of hook and eye and press stud packets, but they were all different packagings, so I've put multiples throughout both books because the packagings were different. Every tea dyed page has got a stamp on it. Some of the stamps are very washed out looking, which I really liked. Made it give it a more of an authentic vintage look, like it was a bit, you know, older looking. I had about 4 books on sewing, crochet, and knitting. So I had a mixture, and that's what these are. These are more a needlecraft type books rather than just outright sewing. But there's a lot of sewing themed bits through it. So I've got some vintage buttons and a little piece of very 70s fabric, and another piece of the pattern packet, and that's off of an old tablecloth that I hand dyed. And got a little tuck spot here. I'm just going to check to make sure that you can see all this. Oh God, just let me organise my camera. So I might move it over a little bit. Is that a bit better? Yes, that's better. Alright, so we've got a little tuck spot here and a little journal card which I've made out of the kit, and some paper that I've got out of a crochet book. So that's a book page. I've not trimmed any of the pages down. I've left them tatty, more in keeping with, you know, it's a true junk journal. So there's quite a few book pages that I've inserted so you can use them for collage. A little piece of I think that was off of a very large doily, or it might have been a supper cloth, a linen supper cloth. That's a large card, or medium-sized card. Some more retro aged lace. It's got a bit more of a vintage feel and look to it though, but I wouldn't say that it's like more than 60 or 70 years old. So we keep going. Some more book page from a sewing book. I had a Reader's Digest. I had 2 sewing books. One of them was the Reader's Digest, which was handy. A little piece of reproduction ephemera advertising piece in that little linen tuck spot with the embroidery on it. This is another tuck spot which I've embellished just with collaged bits, a large tag, and there is some press studs. That's a brand new retro packet. I fussy cut a lot of the ladies off of the pattern packets to use to embellish throughout, and I've used a lot of the I took the name off the brand name off the packet and the pattern number as well, and I use those instead of, like, you know, labels. And this is out of a page out of a should have a name of the, no it doesn't, so I think this was just out of one of those sewing type magazines, or it could have been a Woman's Day or something, I'm not sure, but I took it out because of the fashion images and the article. So that slips in there. So this is the front part of the pattern packet, which I've backed with paper and inked it. I've stitched around all my cards And some of the pockets got stitched as well. I think I did. I'm not sure, I can't remember. We'll find out as we look through. So I'll put a little button charm on there that I bought. I only bought 2 different lots of charms, so there's only 2 charms in the book. This is some lovely retro bobble trim, which, I don't know, hopefully the new owner doesn't get too annoyed with them. I've used some of that beautiful lace to create a side tuck, and I've put this gorgeous front cover from a new idea from December 1963. So it was advertising the pattern that they had inside, a sunny beach shift. So I have it like that. So that just sort of tucks in there. Another little piece of collagey textile sort of embellishment there. It doesn't serve any purpose but look pretty. I embellished some of my tags with rickrack and buttons, so it's a bit different. I've used some of the fabric off that I had for the front cover to put behind this lass, and there's a piece of a pattern packet stuck behind there as well. Put a button charm on the zipper, which is functional. Creates a pocket, and there's treasures inside. So yeah, again, a different brand, different packet of press studs, and an iron-on adhesive for mending, which was often in sewing kits back in the day. Oh, what else is in there? There's something else in there. Oh, look. Large hook and eyes. So pop that back in. And it's glued at the bottom so they won't fall out. I thought that was nifty. It's glued on. I didn't stitch it. I hated stitching zips in when I was doing sewing. So an interesting book page on needles, sewing needles, the different varieties, and pincushion type things. This has got a little charm on this paper clip. It's a sewing machine, and here is a little notepad of just remnant pieces of paper that I was using throughout the journal, and the whole thing is made out of a sewing part of a sewing packet and just a piece of ephemera that I had purchased ages ago. And got another side tuck here with a an original rickrack bobbin card, and I think that, oh, and this just a piece of ephemera for collaging if you want to do collaging throughout, or it's blank on the back. You could do some journaling on there if you want to. So that's the second signature, no, first signature. So we're on to the second one now. So we've got another pocket here, and there's a journal card in there, which does come out. a large one. And got a top tuck with a large card and just some more tea-dyed paper. Never have enough paper for writing on or collaging with. There we go. Some more Reader's Digest book page with some more of the bubbles. These doilies are folded, so you could put something lightweight in there because there's a pocket there. Some lovely book page. Another little tuck spot with just some reproduced ephemera bits. There's 3 bits in there. And yeah, that was an original button card that I had that I used, but it only had the one button attached still. So I've actually just used it as part of the cluster that I created. And I've got like a pattern number here. This is a retro ribbon that I had. And got another tuck spot with some more rickrack. Another card with a button on it. And some more sewing book page. That's why they're chunky, because there is quite a few bits of treasures in here, as well as there's quite a few pages. I don't know how many pages, I haven't counted, but I will count them before I list them. So this was out of a retro crochet book. And this little booklet here has got like that side tuck there with an original button card and just a small journal card, and there's a little side tuck on the other side with some more press studs. And to make this I used a one-hole pattern guide and just devised a way of folding it to get as many pockets and tucks as I could out of it. So on the other side I've put a little tuck spot with a journal card, and there's a journal card in there, and there is a piece of ephemera in here. That's just a small tuck spot there. It doesn't go all the way down. So but there is a pocket here, which is why I've left the lace. I've separated it so that you know that there is a pocket there, which I've put nothing in. And on this side I had this gorgeous little gem. This is still in its packaging, like it's still sealed. It's hosiery mending pack. So you've got like, I'm not sure if it's nylon or silk. It doesn't say. So it's all original, intact. For mending your pantyhose or stockings, and just a piece of antique looking ephemera, but it's not. So some more of that beautiful lace as a side tuck, some more of the fabric from the front cover, some embroidery thread, and just, you know, just little bits to do a cluster with. There's some book page in there from a sewing book that I had there. And on this side is the other side to that lovely page. And here, this CD cover, I have got a journal card inside. I do have. It won't come out. And then I've embellished it with some more retro braid and one of the ladies I've fussy cut, and a label that I've got from somewhere online. And yeah, I'll pop that back in before I tie it all up. So again, some more sewing paper, another card, some more tea-dyed paper, and another card in this. This is a wide tuck, and there's some book page. And now the third signature. I might be able to get rid of this now. We have a gem card in that side tuck with some book page on stitches, different stitches that you can hand sew. Side tuck with just a journal card in it. I love this. And that, just a sample of that retro fabric from the 70s. Throughout both the journals I used a lot of this washi tape. It's fabric washi tape. And then in this tuck spot we've got some lovely faux ephemera and an original button card. A different packet of snap fasteners or press studs. We call them press studs here in Australia. A little journal card there, and this is out of a sewing magazine, and I believe, is it, yeah, no, it's in English. I did have some sewing magazines that were in German. I don't have them anymore, so very retro sewing machine there. And that all just sits in that little embroidered piece of linen from a large doily. And this is ruffled nylon. Yeah, it's something that they would have used back in the day on 90s nightgowns. This short page I've left for anyone to add a page in, or a tip in, or whatever they want to do with it. And this is just a cluster, and that opens out, and there's like a little pocket there which I haven't put anything in, so you've got somewhere to put something there. This is glued down, but the safety pin, the what do you call it, paper clip, is needed because these do fall out. So there's just some bits of ephemera in there. And in the other side is a small tag and another packet of hook and eyes, or part packet. A belly band with just a piece of packaging from Prestuds, and another packet of hook and eyes, some ephemera to use, and a book page from an old magazine that is a baby's layette. No, it's a little set for a dolly. Here you go. It does go in. I had it in there, so it does go in. This is retro grade, obviously 70s. Small book page. Some of the book pages are not just sewing on clothes, it's some of them are to do with home decor. So that one obviously is about curtains and tablecloths. And a very large journal card, tag, squat but fat. And I did two, so each of these journals have got a mini masterboard, which I created using all different bits. And I haven't put tea dyed paper on the back because I really liked, this was out of, I think it was out of the Reader's Digest one, not the other sewing book that I had. So I've just popped it over there like that and put a paper clip on there. So you could either leave it as it is or cut it in half and make two large cards out of, or yeah, just leave it as it is. This is a pocket, paperclip pocket, which I've made out of a piece of pattern guide, and there's a packet of what do you call them? Hook and eyes. Oh, why won't you go in there? Got hooked on something. There we go. And that just slips on there like that. And then there's a pretty page out of one of the sewing books. Some more book page, another tag. And side pocket with snap fasteners. Could write on the back of that if you liked. And that one is a full packet of hook and eyes. And some book page as well. And then the end of the this is the inside cover. There's a tiny little tuck there, and this is wool and nylon thread. And I did a video for these, so each of the journals got one of these. That just flips up out of there and opens out like that, so you've got a journal spot, and then there's a pocket with some bits of ephemera. And for each of the journals I did a bobbin, little handmade bobbin type thing with some of the washi tape that I use, the fabric washi tape, and I've just slipped that in there. So that just slides in quite happily. So that is the journals. Very fat, very chunky, lots for you to see and look at. Yeah, so I'm going to be popping these in my Etsy shop today. So they should be listed I'll actually do a draft listing for them. I'm trying to work out how to coordinate it. I'm going to do a draft listing for them, and then upload the video to YouTube. And as soon as it's finished uploading, I will go back into Etsy and post my listing, my 2 listings. So they'll be both priced the same because they're pretty much the same journal. And I've done them with the same amount of pages, I think. I'm pretty sure I have. Okay. Thank you for having a look through. I hope you got some ideas out of the journals at least, and that you might pop along and check them out on Etsy. Leave me a comment below and let me know what you think. I'd like to hear from people. And yeah, apart from that, bye for now. And until next time, which won't be too far away, I will see you then. Peaceful blessings, everyone.